And the last question I'll ask before we get to the general Q&A is so about this stimulus. According to the IRS, if for some reason you didn't file a 2019 tax return, you're not going to get a stimulus check, but you can claim it on your 2020 tax return.
That's
Or,
correct.
or let's say you're part of the bunch of people who, for whatever reason, they're not getting a check. They said that some people might fall in that category, but you can still claim it. Like,
Right.
do you could you expand a little on the process of how that's going to work? Because some people are, you know,
So I'm gonna try not to be too technical, but what the stimulus it was a direct payment, but it was a tax credit. It was a tax credit that was a direct payment. Again, going back to the economy, right? The tax code is usually written to benefit the overall economy. So always keep that in mind. And so
mhm,
they said, you know what, we're going to give you this tax code in advance. We're going to advance you this money. And so you can get it in your pocket. And then this year, when we go to file those returns for 2020, you have to write it down. You have to claim it. Some people might have gotten too much. Some people might have gotten too little. At the end of the day, it should all balance out, and you shouldn't owe any money on that credit. 9 times out of 10. But if you didn't get it, you should 9 times out of 10 get something back um, at the end of the during this tax season. Actually, when we start doing taxes now on February 12th, so
mhm,
it's not too late to get something potentially. But I'll be honest, I haven't seen the new forms yet. The IRS is still retooling everything because every time
mhm,
there's a tax law change, right? Every time Congress changes something, the IRS then has to update it. So remember, the IRS works for Congress, not the other way
mhm,
around. The IRS works for Congress. So once Congress figures out everything, the IRS then has to say, well, how do we actually do this? What forms should this go on? How are we going to collect the money from the people? Which Congress never really thinks about anyway. They just say, "Hey, do this." It's like it's like that parent that says, "Just do as I say, not as I do," and you know that doesn't usually wind up being a good thing most times. So,
nicely said.
right, so there's always issues. That's why the IRS has pushed back to February 12th, and then I'm hoping the tax season this year will be cool, but I know it's not. I know there's going to be issues. All kinds of issues. I mean, listen, the IRS right now still has over 3 million pieces of mail that it hasn't opened yet. Just the IRS has been hit with COVID as well.
Mhm,
They've been dealing with it as well. I mean, they sent a lot of their people home to work, and that's been a bit of a transition. So they don't have people at the centers to open mail, so it's hard. So they're going to be trying to figure out how to open mail. They just got the last stimulus package, right? The 14, I mean, the $600.
mhm,
Now, Joe Biden, who's just coming into office with the Biden Harris administration, is also saying they want to do an additional $1,400. When is
mhm,
that going to happen? I don't know. How's the IRS going to deal with it? I don't know. Now, normally that shouldn't go into practice or into official tax law until 2021, so maybe later on this year. But weirder things have happened. They can make it. They can make the bill retroactive, and that could just make everybody's lives a lot more cumbersome or a headache. So
mhm. All right.
I hope
So
I answered your question.
you did. You
Okay,
gave the basic premise, but you also mentioned that to some degree we got to play it by ear. So kind of set your expectations there too.
that is correct.
All
That is,
right.
I mean,
Well,
let me just say this last thing. If anybody's like really expecting a tax refund this year, I wouldn't get my hopes up because I think, well, one, we already know tax season's been delayed. Tax season's not starting till February 12th. For many of my people who are getting EIC or earned income credit that have children or adults that they're claiming they get the extra money, that probably won't come out until March because they put a delay on that anyway. So when people start filing in January, normally they tend not to get those refunds until after February 15th. So I'm not sure what their schedule is going to be like if they're going to add an additional wait period because there's so much fraud in the system. That's one
mhm.
of the reasons why they did it. So it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting.
So everyone, as y'all listen to that, just make sure y'all set your expectations based on that, and don't start expecting things like extremely soon. They have a lot of work to do.
Don't spend your money before you get it.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.